I haven't drank my coffee today, and this is like the fourth time I'm restarting this. I tried to make it special. I had a really weird time at work this morning. I'm like, come home and I'm like, I'm gonna make a video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, excuse me. I've restarted this video like 5 times, so whatever happens in this video happens. Whatever happens, lopsided hair, lipstick on teeth, whatever happens, happens. Also, this is my chair. This is the chair. This is how it really looks. I usually cover it because I don't really like the way it looks, but I uncovered it because even though I love pink and that's my favorite color, and I love all my springtime florals and all that, it's fall and I want the autumnal vibes. And this is autumnal vibe, dark, deep color lipstick. I like this dress too. Little autumn vibe. My little autumnal butterfly. She's a beautiful autumn orangey yellow situation happening. Anyway, this I've recorded this so many times. This video is going to be about, it's going to be, whatever happens, I'm just going to keep going. This video is going to be about not the gifted school. Not this book. Yes, this book, but other books. And I just want to, right off the top, I just want to say, if you have any suggestions about books that are about neurodiverse characters, let me know. I'm very open to it. I just want to discuss, because I'm like doing kind of a thematic roundup, wrap up situation where I want to talk about several different books that have had neurodiverse characters in them, and like discuss like the different aspects of the representation in these novels and what I liked and what I didn't like. Now, I'm going to start. Let's start with the awkward, or the kind of not great. I think it's just my opinion. I'm not a neurodiverse person. If you are on the spectrum or have anything else going on and you want to say, I love that book, what are you talking about? I just want to say, first of all, I did like this book. I like The Gifted School by Bruce Holsinger. I think I love the cover. Okay, it's beautiful, actually. It's really beautiful. You have to see the colors up close. And it's like the picture is like such a cool picture. Anyway, I'm just rambling. I just ramble and ramble. So, so this book is about a bunch of parents who want their kids to go to the special new school that's being built. It's a great school. It's like a public school. It's a magnet school. It's like a public school with the goals and the focus of a private school, and you have to get tested into it. And it's a whole big thing. You have to get tested into it in phase 1. Phase 2, you have to make a project. It's a whole thing. So that's what this book is about. There's a character in this book that is one of the students of the parents. There's 4 main parents, and his name is Xavier, and he's obviously coded as someone on the spectrum with a little Asperger situation going on. He's coded, and I say this because it's not directly said. And I feel like kind of how people were saying that Sheldon on Big Bang Theory had autism. I feel like a lot of times these people, when they write fiction, they're like, I'm just not going to name it. If I don't name it, then I'm not beholden. I'm not beholden to accurate portrayal if I don't name it. If I don't say that Xavier has autism, then it doesn't have to be a dynamic portrayal of autism, which it isn't. He's only exists in this book to be a plot point towards the end. And he kind of just, you're given so much of his perspective, and I just felt like if the writer pushed himself, because there's several perspectives that are shown and focused on. So there's 4 main women, but we don't focus on all of their perspectives. We mostly focus on the perspective of, Rose, who is the doctor. We focus on Rose, Gareth. We see a lot of Xavier. We see Beck. And those are like the 4 main perspectives. And the daughter, what was the daughter's name? whatever her daughter was. She was a troubled, wayward girl. I'm going to talk about this book, I think, in a separate video. I've read this over the summer. I think I might do a video about like book clubs because I read this for a book club. I read a lot of things for book club. So maybe I'll do like one of those long videos. It's like 10 reviews. 10 reviews in 10 minutes. That's what I should do because I just ramble. I'm rambling right now. Okay. But he's portrayed as that kind of stereotype. And this is why I say this. I'm going to put this down now because I'm getting distracted just holding it. He is portrayed as that stereotype. First of all, he's a boy. Not every, but 90% of mainstream representation of people on the spectrum is males. 90% of the time. That's what it is. He's male. He is a genius. People say like, oh, he's a genius. He's incredible. He has an amazing capacity with numbers or whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. He's a genius, or he's highly, highly, highly gifted and obsessed with like numbers or whatever. And then he, has zero social skills and is very like antisocial. Well, not antisocial, but just zero social skills. Because he doesn't want to make friends with the boys. But the boys literally bully him. This is what made me mad. Okay, side note. No, I'm saving it. I'm saving it when I talk about it later. Okay, but I'm focusing on Xavier. I don't like Xavier's portrayal, obviously because it's a stereotypical portrayal. But not only that, it's also because he's portrayed, I feel like not only is it stereotypical, it's kind of inaccurate. Like, he's kind of portrayed like he doesn't even understand right and wrong. He's portrayed as like being really sneaky, but also kind of portrayed as like just not knowing right from wrong, not knowing what he did at the end of the novel was wrong. Like, it bothers me because it's just like, that's just not real. It's not real. He's so sneaky for so many chapters. It's just like, why would you be sneaky if you... his plot doesn't really make sense in the book either because his mom just isn't paying attention. Just isn't paying attention. Just has no idea what he's up to. And it's just like, it's so important to her to get him into the school, but she has no oversight over his project. Because she sees him as a genius or whatever. So I'm like, whatever. I just felt like that. Whatever, dude. I just felt like that wasn't a great portrayal. I felt like the book overall was really good. I think I gave it like a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think the book was really good. I liked basically everything in the book. I liked except for the portrayal of Xavier. Like, his chapters and his plot point at the end. The end made me mad. The end made me mad, but I feel like we're supposed to kind of get mad. So it's not simply the ending that made me mad. It was Xavier's role to play that I didn't love. I think okay. These are my 2 recommendations. But they're younger kids though. Well, actually I have a couple that I could recommend. Hold on. Now, if you follow me on Goodreads, you've seen I've recently read these because I work in a school, but I'm going back to school for library science. And we basically had several readings, and we're reading every single week. We're reading lots of readings under a different theme. Like, one week we had LGBT, one week we had multicultural, this week we had inclusivity in terms of neurodiversity and physical disability. What was another week? What was our starting point? Oh, our starting point was multimedia. So it's like a book that also has a video with it or something, whatever. So a book that I do recommend and I thought was really good was A Boy Called Bat. Now, this is a book about a young boy. His name is Bixby Alexander Tam. And they call him Bat because that's his initials. It's cute. And he loves animals, so he likes it. And there's a reference to him flapping because, he has autism. And so he's like, I flap like a bat. I don't know. But he likes his nickname. His parents call him it. His friends call him it. It's very sweet. And he loves animals. He has fights with his sister. His sister doesn't get him. And I think the portrayal of the sister... But the portrayal of him is not only good, but also his sister. Because kids don't get it. Kids are like, I don't get this whole autism thing. All I know is my brother is like annoying me and da 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 da. So it's really good. It's really good. It's just a normal. He's just like a normal kid. He's not a genius. He quotes a lot of facts about animals, but he's not a genius about animals. He's just a normal kid with an interest in animals. I don't know. I don't maybe the and I know the word normal is problematic, but like I think the stereotype in mainstream media is always like the person with autism is a genius, but we just can't like understand their genius, but and they can't understand the outside world. It's such a cliche. I think it's really cliche, and I just feel like this A Boy Called Bat is much more down to earth. It's probably not your reading level. You're probably an adult watching this, like, okay, that's great. That's great for kids. So if you have a kid in your life and you want them to read like something with a neurodiverse character and get that perspective, it's great. He has a pet skunk. It's not his pet. He's caretaking for a skunk. He has a favorite teacher. He has fights with his sister, like I said. Like he's it's a down to earth story. It's a sweet story. Um a lot less lighthearted, really dark. Not I don't want to say dark, but yeah, it's kind of dark. It's kind of a grittier, kind of more sad portrayal of people with neurodiverse situations. Okay, so this is a book called Girls Like Us. And I gave A Boy Called Bat 4 stars because like, it was good. But then I gave this book 5 stars because I'm like, oh my gosh, it really moved me. It really, really moved me. I'm having trouble to even think about everything I want to say about the book. It really moved me. Like, because I've worked with, you know, young kids with disabilities and high schoolers with disabilities. And I just don't think people think about what happens to um people with disabilities when they're adults. I feel like we all think about kids, but not like adulthood and people with disabilities, especially not people who are more down to earth and not geniuses that are going to go work at the university like Sheldon on Big Bang Theory, even though they try to pretend like that's not it. A lot of these writers, I think, don't name it because then I'm not beholden to anything. Anyway, this book is about 2 young women after they graduate high school, and I think that is so important to read. And I suspect that a lot of my classmates didn't read this book because when we had our like Zoom class meeting, no one was saying hardly anything. First of all, it was like the class, it was like a really weird class. It really stood out to me. And you're probably like, really? This is an aside. This is just about my class. It really stood out to me because you're probably like, okay, a lot of people don't participate in class. Like, you're an overachiever or something. But, like, first of all, we're in graduate school. So it's like, we should all be aiming a little higher, right? But it's like, that's not normal for this class. Like, it's not normal. Like, people usually participate. I feel like there's like 2 or 3 girls that are big mouth. One of them being me, this other girl named Sarah, and this other girl named Danielle. There's like a couple of us that are like always have something to say on every topic. Then there's some girls that kind of only type in the chat because they're video lags. And then there's other girls that just sit and they just feel so comfortable just sitting and listening and not saying anything. Girl. And then there's this one woman who was at a that's a whole different conversation. She was at a baseball game during the Zoom class. I'm not even gonna get that's a whole different I might make like a vlog or like a story time about that. That's a different conversation. But it was like it was really weird. I don't think my classmates read this, and it's so not only is it so good, it's a really hard read. It's a really hard read, like emotionally, but it's still good. I don't know. I feel like no one read it, and everyone's just so silent. I I swear to God, I swear. So anyway, the story follows these 2 girls after they leave high school, and they get placed in a home together. They move in with an older lady, and their jobs are one girl works at a local, Quincy works at a local grocery store, and she does the cooking in the house, and they both stay at the house rent free. And like, it's like a room over the garage, like a little apartment where they can have their own little kitchenette and everything like that. And Biddy lives with her, and Biddy has her own backstory. It's so good. I don't want to spoil it, but it's so good. And Biddy is the one, let me break it down like this. Biddy is the one with like emotional intelligence. She's incredibly sweet. She's incredibly like, she picks up on a lot of things socially that I think that Quincy doesn't get. And Biddy doesn't have autism. I don't think either of them have autism. Um, I think Biddy would fall under that category of other intellectual delay or other developmental delay. Just that big broad category, because she's never given, they say, and this is what Biddy, it's really sad, and this is real, okay? This isn't a stereotype. This is real. This is how real people talk in the 21st century. This is how people are talking. So Biddy says her grandmother introduces her to people, and she says, "This is my granddaughter Biddy. She has mild retardation." That's it. Like, that's like her diagnosis. But I'm like, do people still use that? I don't know. I haven't seen that. Maybe people do in Texas because it's set in Texas, but from what I've seen, people mostly say developmental delay now or intellectual disability now. So I don't know. But she has that, and then her friend has brain damage because her mom was in an abusive relationship. Quincy's mom was in an abusive relationship and hit her with a brick when she was a child. Just smashed her across the back of her head and her face. And she has like, you can visibly see like what happened on her face and everything. It's so sad. I mean, it's sad. I think that that's just the beginning. That's just the setup of the background of who the characters are. Then the older woman is like a woman with money, and she has trouble walking, getting around, and she's an older woman, etc. So that's what it's about. It's really good. I really highly recommend that. And that's it. That's my whole, though. Well, no, there is one more book that I can recommend. I didn't I didn't put stars on this for some reason. Should I put 5 stars? I really liked this book. I did not read either of the last two books. I listened to them. I listened to the accents. Hold on. Going back to Girls Like Us, the accents in that audiobook. I'm from the South. I'm from the South. And those Southern accents, girl, they're from Texas. Girl, the granny, not the granny. I should call her a granny. The old lady in the book, oh, I loved her accent. But like their accents, girl, and she kept saying, "Shoot a goose." And I'm like, "Oh my god." You get past it. You get past it though. Like once you start getting into the story, you get past that very quickly. This was like an audio book. It was like there was a librarian who sat down and read this entire book this past summer. She sat down and read this entire book, The 57 Bus. She sat down and read this whole book. It's on YouTube. Go look for it. And I listened to her read it and while I was doing other things, and this book is about the 57 Bus is about a young non-binary person who encounters a young black boy on the bus, and they have a very unfortunate encounter because the black boy's friends were joking around like, "Look, there's a boy in a skirt," and they think as a prank that they're going to light the edge of the skirt with a lighter, and the skirt ends up catching big flames very quickly. It's like a gauzy, flowy skirt. And what was they's name? Why do I keep saying they's? Their name. I'm so stupid. Oh my gosh, Sasha is they's name. Their name. They's. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Sasha and Richard. So Richard ends up getting charged with a crime. Sasha ends up having to go get lots of surgery to repair their legs, get really badly burned. It's a really tough story and a tough situation. And I just feel like, yeah, it's worth listening to though. But Sasha is on the spectrum, I believe. I believe Sasha's on the spectrum, if I'm not mistaken. but it's representation, but it is, but it kind of isn't. Well, it is, because we get to know a lot about Sasha and Richard individually, and Sasha's a real person, so that's always great, right? To see a perspective of a real person. Anyway, so that's my recommendation. I don't want to spoil that situation. You can go look it up. It's a real and it's a real story. They're real people. Sasha's a real person, Richard is a real person, and you can go look it up and see what happens to them. I'm hitting 20 minutes. It's so long to upload a 20-minute video. It takes like an hour. You're probably like, thanks for telling me that. Anyway, take 5 was a success. It was a rambling success. My videos turn out better when I make my notes. Next time I'm gonna make my notes. I just got home and I was just like, I want to make a video, but I don't have anything planned. What am I gonna do? I have something planned. Short story Saturday, but that's on Saturday. So anyway,